Well, when I first heard about early retirement, it sort of blew my mind. I had always thought that retirement was for old people, that you're supposed to retire in your 60s and 70s, and basically you're supposed to work your entire life. But when I heard about early retirement and how some of these people are retiring in their 40s and 50s and even 30s, I was like, whoa, hold up one second. How do you actually accomplish that? Both of you guys are around your 20s, 30s, and 40s, and we think of retirement as something that you start doing in your 50s. And if we're lucky, especially with the amount of savings and investments that most people have in the US are very, very low, people really aren't thinking about it, and they're sort of trying to live in the moment. But at the same time is trying to understand that, hey, I need to look out for the future me. When we think about retirement and traditional retirement as a whole, as an idea and concept, we're thinking that, hey, we should be sort of squirreling some of the money that we're making and putting into some 401k or some pension plan that's going to hopefully give me something to have a little nest egg when I'm 65. But if we flip the script and flip the idea on its head and say like, hey, maybe I don't actually have to retire at 65, at 70, maybe that we can actually make a plan or formulate an idea around this concept and actually try to retire early. The idea of retirement is so that we can sort of gain our freedom, right? We can gain our freedom from the corporate 9 to 5 and the rat race and all of that, and actually go out there and do all the things that we said that we're gonna do someday, right? Someday maybe we can go and travel the world. Maybe someday I can pursue those that pottery project that I've been thinking about, or maybe I can start that blog or write about things that I'm interested in. And the idea of retirement is so that we can pursue this other side of life, this other type of lifestyle. And there's this 4% rule. The 4% rule basically dictates that whatever amount of investable assets that I have in the stock market and invest it in the S&P 500, if I take 4% of that value, that is basically what I can retire with a monthly payment to myself. If I had $1 million invested in the S&P 500 in diversified stocks, 4% of that would give me around $40,000. So every year I can withdraw $40,000 from this $1 million pot, and that would be sustained across a 30-year period. The math around this is malleable because there are different factors that come into play, such as early retirement. If you retire early, you're probably gonna have to push that percentage from 4% down to maybe like 3.5, 3.8. But forget about all those crazy complex details as you're starting to learn about early retirement. And this idea is that there is some math behind it, and that it is possible to actually retire early. And if we crunch the numbers, we can start figuring out what that actually means for me and my personal situation. And you might be asking yourself, like, why should I care? $1 million sounds like a crazy amount, and it is. The bigger picture is that we have time on our side. In the 10, 20, 30 years that you have as you're reaching normal retirement age, it gives you a goal in mind, because if you don't have a why behind what you're trying to do, then you're not going to even pursue it. And this is a concept that I can really get behind, because I want to actually aim for freedom. I want to be free. Beyond all of the numbers, what we actually want to feel is that we want to be feeling like a free person, that we don't owe someone else, that someone else doesn't own us, that when we're going into the office, that someone can tell us what exactly to do, when to do it, how high to jump, all these things where we can be like, hey, I just want to take a vacation with my family. I want to take a vacation with my significant other, and I don't want someone to dictate how long I can do it or when I can do it or if I can do it. And it's this idea of time freedom. I want to be able to wholly have a full grasp on the time that I have throughout the day. I want to be able to wake up and have my coffee and read the newspaper and read the news and watch a movie and then go work on some project for however long I want or if I want. And this really comes down to why I place such an importance on money in terms of lifestyle development, because we cannot forget that money is a crucial factor, and our understanding of our finances, of our financial education is a very important piece of the puzzle, and that we can't just say, hey, I'm gonna push this off until, in my 50s, and I'll let the future Warren decide and figure it out, whatever that is. Who knows if I'm not even gonna make it to my 50s, right? That's sort of the mindset I had in my early 20s. I was like, hey, I'm just gonna live for the moment. But when we are planning our life and our lifestyle, we have to have a balance. Yes, we definitely need to have fun in the moment and enjoy ourselves and to spend on things that really brings joy into our lives. But at the same time, we have to balance that with the fact that, hey, we are earning money, but at the same time, when we're working and we're having a salary job, we're trading our life force, our life itself, for the specific amount of money, and then we take that money and then we buy things that might be frivolous or useless. And I had to actually work for that money. I had to spend my time on it. So you're basically trading time for things that you don't actually care about. And when we think about life in terms of that, is that, hey, I don't want to be trading the rest of my life, my youth, my energy, my vigor, and I have to now am trapped in this rat race where I'm working for things that I don't really actually enjoy, but deep down what I really want is actually freedom, right? And that's what I realized, is that early retirement is about freedom. Beyond all the math, the idea behind it is like, hey, I need to start thinking about this now and today, because time is of the essence and time is your friend. Because when you're young, you have a lot of time and you can allow time to compound and to grow and to snowball. I like to think about early retirement in a different amount of ways. Is that, hey, maybe there's a shortcut, and maybe that I don't have to work as hard because I'm gonna be working smartly. And one of the things that I like to talk about in this channel is alternative thinking outside the box. So if I had to say that, hey, I need a $1 million or $2 million or $3 million in order to retire earlier and to retire in general, I ask myself, hey, is there a shortcut to this? Hey, how do I actually reverse engineer this? How do I start from the end goal, let's say $3 million? Maybe I want to actually change that goal into $1 million and I can retire and have a high quality of life. And that's where actually being able to have some flexibility and changing the way you think is going to really unlock a whole new pattern of thought and lifestyle. For example, if I needed $1 million to actually retire in the state of North Carolina in the US, what if I actually retired in Mexico? Is my cost of living going to drastically decrease? Is my quality of life going to vastly increase? Because I always think the lifestyle that you have and the quality of life isn't dependent on where exactly you live and the city that you live, but actually how much money that you have. Because if you live in New York City, but you are actually scraping to get by, what kind of quality of life is that? Because you can walk around and see everyone else enjoy their $15 bagel, but you can actually afford it, then what kind of quality life are you living? We want to flip the script on its head and say like, hey, maybe I can actually live in a different city or country and reduce my cost of living by 3 or 4 folds and actually have a higher quality life because my dollar is actually going further. Maybe you can actually live on a boat. Maybe you can actually live in a van. There's also so many different alternative lifestyles where people are prioritizing saving and investing their money when they're younger by living a little bit more unconventional so that they can invest and allow time to actually be on their side. Maybe I don't have to follow the script that my friends and my family are all pushing onto me and what society wants for me. And maybe I want to actually create a lifestyle that's a little bit unconventional, where I can actually live a life that's actually high quality and reduce my expenses, as I'm basically doing that here in Bogota, Colombia, where basically I've been traveling for the past 3 years and actually reduced a lot of my expenses, because I actually used to live in New York City where the cost of living is super high, but depending on how much you're making, your quality of life is commensurate to actually how much you make. So it's not so much about the location itself, but it's about how much you can actually afford. So some of you guys might be a little bit confused on, hey, what do I actually want out of my life? What does this mean for me? And I challenge you to think about like, hey, let's evaluate where I am right now. Are there ways in which I can actually change the way that my mindset is towards personal finances, my budgeting, my investment, and letting my money work for me? Because for me personally, I can't imagine working for the rest of my life and where someone could tell me whether or not I can actually take a longer vacation or not. I know just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean that that's what I want for myself, and saying, no, that's not for me, and I don't want that for my life, and I'm gonna proactively work towards early retirement and a lifestyle that is right for me. And that's what this video is about. I hope you guys got something out of it. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content.